So we are leaving our current Success Club points and then June Success Club points. Jackie had 12 last month. Amazing. 0 right now. It's okay. We're brand spanking new. With your apprenticeship, that shall shift. Teresa, 18 last month, 6 already. Amazing. Robin had 10 last month. Amazing. I had 10 as well. I'm 99.9% certain I'm sitting at 0 still. I did not check coach office this evening. 18 Leslie as well for this month. These two ladies are setting a standard for us all. Let's follow them into the sunset. Sunrise, I shall say. That's much more ongoing. Brittany's on the board. She's got Success Club points this month. I love it. I love it. All right, well, I'm going to get started. This is just going to be me tonight, last minute change of things. So I appreciate you all being on early. 8:30 is a rough start for me, so I'm trying to gather my things together, and then Jess had an emergency, so I'm trying to pull everything else together as well. But I think I've got it all covered. I'm going to be brief with the announcements, even though there's plenty of them. If you haven't listened to the National Wake Up Call from today, please do, because they break down everything again for MBF. But just to remind you guys, it goes on sale tomorrow for coaches, and it includes the Nutrition Plus application, which after the first month is $19.95 a month for both together combined Ultimate Portion Fix with a monthly fix and the Mindset membership. So it's a really great value to get everybody nice and squared away with that tomorrow. And there's also a new BOD Groups promo for anybody who starts a BOD group in the month of July. The top 100 participants are in the running or getting or whatever an Apple Watch, a BOD Groups themed Apple Watch. You can go to FAQ 7336 for that to get started. But I wanted to run through some ideas for MBF just that I've been gleaning from different champions posts and threads, and just from my own brain and from what you guys are doing already to make that launch a coach recruitment specific launch. Even though it's starting tomorrow, it can be an ongoing coach recruitment process throughout the MBF VIP launch. And then I want to talk to you a bit about simplification and tools for leadership. And I know Jackie listened to the Bob Heilig podcast where I stole most of this from, so it'll be a little bit redundant for her. But I wanted to get a good training in and some materials that can be a good reminder for us. Hi, Leanne. One of the things that Bob Heilig talked about in that training is that, you know, things are going to be repetitive. The longer you're a part of a network and part of an organization, trainings will be repetitive because we're constantly remembering that it's the simple basics. It's not necessarily brand new information. It's not necessarily brand new content. It's just remembering the basics. And there are plenty of times where I'm listening to a National Wake Up Call and a coach says something that I know I knew and have left my consciousness or has left my habit. So I'm just going to make sure that whether I have something brand spanking new to deliver to you guys, or we are sharing something tried and true just to remember, and for our new coaches, it'll kind of be a blend of all of that stuff. And I also want to remind you guys, the document is there with some content. I will repost that link with this team call recording when I post it in the morning. If you wanted to jump in and grab a training, you can do it during a team call. You can do it during any of your free minutes in Tribe or in your own team pages, and just share the video of that with us if you'd like. You don't have to. I'm not trying to have everyone run the team page, but it's a collaborative effort, and I would love for you guys to jump on there or add a topic that you want covered, and we can pull trainings from there. But anyway, MBF and coach recruitment. So one of the things that I want you to consider when it comes to all of these launches, first things first, is that and I'm kind of jumping into my next set of tools or tips, is that you cannot necessarily, or you do not have to necessarily take advantage of every single product or promotional launch that our company has, especially when things kind of happen in succession. It can be a little cluttered, and I'll talk in the next space about how you can dial into that and utilize this, but without confusing your audience and without confusing yourself in that respect. But regardless, if we start looking at these product launches, the VIP program launches, as a good way to bring in coach recruiter, or to have a coach recruitment as a part of it. Guys, I need you to quiet down. Guys, you can't run around in here because I just can't focus. It's no longer the school year, so figuring out how to handle multiple things at one time, my brain has shut that off for now. Anyway, using this as a coach recruitment opportunity is a good thing. So anyway, here's what I was thinking about and what I've been taking from other people's ideas, because that's what we do. If you think about using bod groups, whether you're running a Facebook group or running bod groups or both or whatever, but if you create a bod group for your product launches, as a way for you to bring in new coaches, maybe you have your challenge group, but if you use a ongoing coach recruitment space on bod groups, having an opening there as like a coach mentorship, apprenticeship, whatever you guys want to call it, however you want to word this, but you link it into a launch and you give them the option to get that launch taken care of early before customers can, sign up as a coach, and at the same time get the opportunity to see what it's like to be a coach. You can use all of the tools in one space and kind of help them to work through that new program, as well as see what coaching is like. A couple of the ways that you can do this is one day a week, you can spotlight a different person if you want to do it for the length of the launch or for the first month or however you want to do this, just for that free window, or not free window, the coach only exclusive window. One day a week, you can have a person in that challenge group post. They're in charge of doing the posting. You can show them where the challenge group guide is. You could ask them to share a video. They can record a training or do something like that. You can also ask for, or not ask for, you can bring in one day focusing on to-be mindset, one day focusing on ultimate portion fix, one day focusing on the activities that a coach does in a power hour, one day focusing on, you kind of get the idea. But using bod groups for that, you can save your content, rehash it every single time you have a launch, where maybe in the morning you have the MBF post, and at 7 p.m. you're posting that coach content for the day. And it could be a way for them to get into a challenge group and also get that coach sneak peek at the same time. So they have kind of an added benefit because they're into that coach exclusive window. What I want you guys to think about with MBF, and for some of us it's a little bit different because we're in a program, we might not be doing that program right away. I remember Danielle Latoni saying this in her Power Hour, if you've watched her Power Hour recently, which I know I've done with a lot of you. She loved bar blend so much, she did bar blend repeatedly and did not do 10 rounds until 10 rounds was almost over for most of us. But she still shared that 10 rounds existed. She would share little sizzle videos for it or talk about it, but still continued to focus on bar blend. We can totally do that. If you were to walk into, I don't know, let me think of a store, Express, and you wanted to buy a dress for a wedding you're going to, the girl that's helping you out doesn't have to be wearing that date party dress for you to have her help you with it. She could still be wearing Express jeans and a sweater, but she can still talk to you about the date party dress. So we have to remember that we don't have to be the proof of every single product. We can still be sprinkling in all the products, but still focusing on one specific thing that we're doing as our everyday activity. And there's ways to create that balance, because as we've noticed, we have continual new products. We have bars that come out, and we have new flavors of Energize, and we have our shakes, and we have different everything, there's always something, which is awesome, but you can't go all into all of it. You will never see consistency. You will never see real proof. So instead, be honest about it. There are so many options. I'm sticking with this one because this works for me, but here's something for you. But here's something Leslie's doing that's really awesome. And, she could speak a lot to this if you go watch her stories. And then if you're really interested in it, you can even talk to her about it. Like, it's okay for us to share that way, to know that there are different people who are looking for different opportunities than the one I'm doing right now, or than the one Stephanie's doing right now, but that we can work together as a team, or just work together within our network to understand all of this and not overwhelm people. Now, why am I talking in circles? I don't really know, but I need to share my screen. I have a little presentation. This is my new favorite thing to do. If I can find where the heck it is. Let's pretend it's on this one. All right, cool. Can you guys see that? Okay, So unlike my team call where I'm rambling like a lunatic right now, the goal for us as leaders, whether it's leading a challenge group or leading ourselves in business, is to simplify. So I want to do a little activity with you guys before I go through this presentation. So if you have a pen and paper, please have that available. If you do not, just open the notes tab on your phone, because I really want you to kind of do this. This is hands-on, it's important. We're going to kind of do the audit that Bob talks about in that podcast, which if you've listened to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I've kind of created it in a Beachbody, Tribe, Team Fit Dynasty kind of a way. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to list all of your personal development that you currently engage in. List every podcast that you love and listen to regularly. List whatever personal development book you are reading or listening to, or both. I want you to list anything you've been looking at or continue to look at in units, whether it's in Tribe, in Team Fit Dynasty, in Beachbody Champions, in your own team page. If you've been binging YouTube videos by coaches, any and everything like that, I want you to write it down. I'll give you a minute or two to do that. You can include team calls on there as well. Not power hours, but team calls. These are our knowledge growing activities. Even if they're not Beachbody related. The next category I want you guys to write down is your business building activities. So this is power hours. This is when you are spending time on ShareCart. This is when you are creating your newsletter. This is when you are working on your email list. So what I would like you to do is list those things, any of them that you do. If you do a power hour a day, then write down 5 power hours. If you do 7 power hours, if you do 12 power hours, if you spend 1 hour working on your newsletter, if you spend 25 minutes each weekend day working on your email list, whatever it is, I want you to write down the time or amount of time or number of times you spend on business building activities. Creating ShareCarts, getting on the phone with potential customers or coaches. Not current, but potential. Business building. This is not making graphics. This is not scheduling challenge group posts. That'll be another category. That next category is our maintenance category, our business maintenance. So this is the time you spend with one-on-one calls for your coaches. This is the time you spend one-on-one calls for your customers, creating content and posting content in your challenge group, checking in with your challenge group. Your maintenance activities. Planning out your social media content. Editing your photos. Splicing your videos. Shopping on Fabletics. You don't know my life. Any of that stuff. And lastly, I want you to just think of the other miscellaneous things you do for your business. You can count your workouts, you can count your shakes, you can count, I don't know what you count as miscellaneous is your business. And once you finish that, just look up. Teacher Pam said, look up when you're ready. And we're going to do something with those lists eventually, but I'm going to go through this super quick Canva presentation. Promise to be speedy. Okay. So Bob talked a lot in his podcast, and he's done this before. This is not new information, as I mentioned, about simplification. And I think about this every time a launch comes in and my brain is kind of spinning and I'm thinking to myself, my God, I just was promoting caramel or salted caramel and then MBF and this and that. You just kind of get, and I'm trying to recruit coaches and I'm trying to create team calls and I'm trying to show up in my challenge group every day and I'm trying to do my own workout and I'm trying to breathe and I'm trying to sleep once in a while and I'm trying to find a notebook, like all those things, right? Simplification systems, we know it. I know you know it. I know you do. But I want to tell you a little bit of a story. So one thing that Bob talked about first off is that leadership is repetition. And the more complicated we make something, the more complicated our people think it needs to be. The more complicated we make the invite process, the more complicated the people we're inviting think that coaching is. The more complicated we make our challenge groups, the more intimidating perhaps we make those endeavors look for our people. The more, the extra time that I spend in my team page or you spend in your team page or you spend in one-on-one calls, your coaches assume that that's what it has to look like because leadership is repetition. So we need to be very clear as to what activities really are worth it and what time is really worth repeating, both for us to wash, rinse, and repeat on the weekly, daily, monthly basis, and what is important for our team to see makes the most sense for them to repeat, whether they are a team of challengers or a team of coaches. Bob told a story about Steve Jobs. It's much better told on his episode from Friday's podcast. But in essence, Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, left Apple for a little while because he wanted to pursue his own thing. He had a little falling out with his co-partner. In that time, he's never really found his feet in this other business. His heart belonged to Apple. Apple decided to go in 1,000 directions, spreading their net of influence over billions of products. Billions is an exaggeration, but lots and lots of products, lots of ideas of ways that they could influence markets across the tech and beyond space. Steve Jobs comes back, now is in charge. And he's sitting there and he's saying, we're sitting in this meeting and all you're doing is giving me ideas and ideas and ideas of new things we need to do. And he created a sphere of 4 elements that he thinks that Apple needed to belong in. And he asked them to cut out 70% of the crap and fit 30% of their ideas into those 4 elements. And ever since then, that is all Apple has done, is focused on 30% of what they really, really had as ideas and going in those directions. And that's where I want you to look at your lists. And I'm not asking you to cut things out completely, but I'm asking you to look at each list. Those are big lists, I'm sure, especially for some of you. I'm not going to name names, but I know for some of you, your podcast lists are lengthy. Your PD lists are lengthy. The time you're spending with your coaches, which is valuable time. The time you're spending with your customers is valuable time. It's lengthy and it can stay lengthy. But you want to remember that your business, whatever you want that to look like, you need to make sure that you are spending, you're doing 30% of the things you're doing so that you can do them really well and do them as best as you can and identify what those are. If listening to podcasts and if listening to trainings, because it gives you content for your challenge groups and it gives you something to share on social media and it makes you a better human, then keep spending your time on all of them. But if you're feeling like your goal is something else, and you're devoting so much time there, make that extra credit. You know, get through everything else and then listen to another podcast. Implement what you learned from the first one and then listen to another podcast. Have your one-on-one calls with your coaches and get through X number of power hours before you listen to another podcast or whatever it is for you. I'm just using podcasts as an example. So here are some things that Bob says that we must do. Can you guys see that full screen, or are you guys in front of it? Let me see if I don't know what you can see, so I'm going to move that. We need to envision our goals and then prioritize from them. So now you have your list of all the ways you spend your time on your own. I don't want to do this with you guys right now, and we've done this a million times. Think about perhaps what you set up as your goal from our retreat. Think about what you put on your vision board back in January. Think about whatever it is you're just reaching for. If it's diamond, if it's you know, premier or elite, if it's qualifying for NLC, if it's just hitting Success Club for the first time, I shouldn't say just, if it's emerald, whatever your goal is, if it's an X number of dollars a month, what is that goal? And look at that list and chop off whatever doesn't fit it. I'm not asking you to cut out your challenge groups and tell your challengers, peace out, I got goals, you ain't part of them, right? That's a commitment you've made. But what can you do to reach those goals? Because I'm telling you, if your goal is rank advancement, spending a good chunk of your time on listening to podcasts is not going to do it unless you listen to those podcasts and you do what they say. Spending so many minutes creating beautiful newsletters that aren't getting you much interaction is not going to cut it. That doesn't mean these aren't things that we can do, but perhaps instead of doing it weekly, we do it every other week. Or perhaps instead of listening to 3 podcasts a day, I'm going to listen to one and I can't listen to another until I've implemented something or until I've sent 12 invites or whatever it is. But it's prioritizing your time based on these goals. Sitting down and doing power hours is beautiful. Those are nice business building directed activities. But there's so much more that goes into coaching if you have rank or income goals. And prioritizing the extra time outside of those podcasts is what's really, really important for you. Once you have what your priorities are and you look at your list of the things you're doing and spending your time on, identify what you can cut, identify what is necessary, and each week, please block out time for what is necessary first. Block it out first. As you guys know, I think I've talked about this. I went and got you can't see me, I don't know, I'm holding it up, the Rachel Hollis Priority Planner after our retreat. And I just like the daily laying out of it. It's nice. It's spacious for me. I still have my weekly time blocking printout that I put in Tribe that you guys can use. And I do use that just for a visual of my week. But in pink, every Sunday or Monday morning, I go through and I write down the musts for me. I block out my power hours. I block out my team call. I block out my accountability call. I block out the financial class I'm taking. Like, I block out the things that matter most to me. I've started blocking out what I'm doing business-wise extra each day. Like, for example, today, I'm on my wrong day. But today's extras, because it's Monday, is my team call prep. So from 2:30 until 3 o'clock, I blocked out time to do team call prep, because that's like a non-negotiable business activity for me each week. So thinking about what those are and blocking those out, just like we block out our workout. I know I've talked about time blocking before. I know this is kind of repetitive, but it's only repetitive if you haven't listened to it the first time. It's a reminder, and it's a good reminder if you have listened to it and you think to yourself, I should reevaluate anyway. It's important to reevaluate. Once you have those blocked out, anything extra, simplify to 3 daily actions. Mel Robbins tells you this. Bob Heilig tells you this. Rachel Hollis tells you this. I tell you this. Everyone on the National Wake Up Call tells you this. You tell yourself this. 3 things. That's it. Everything else is icing. So you determine what those 3 things are for your business each day. I'm talking outside of your power hour, and that's what you focus on. Create a timeline for each task and stick to it when you're time blocking. When your time is up, if you aren't finished, don't mess up the rest of your day unless you have some wiggle room. Shelve it for the next day and move on to the next thing. It's really important. You will learn to work more efficiently and you will simplify your focus. You might even realize like, wow, I spent a lot of extra time today. I don't really know, I'm going to make something up, scrolling through Beachbody Champions page trying to find that power hour. Instead, now every Sunday, I'm going to write down exactly which power hour I'm doing so I can make that time more efficient. Those little things are going to help you simplify your systems and make this duplicatable for us or for everybody. If I could leave you guys with 3 words outside of simplicity, the things that are going to make simplicity really possible is to collaborate, to delegate, and to duplicate. You are all doing that. I know there's such a configuration of different people working together in different spheres right now, and it's beautiful. Keep that up. Keep encouraging each other. Keep encouraging your coaches to show up, to collaborate. If you're working together, it's okay to say, listen, I really stink at this. Are you good at this? Great. I'm really good at this. Can I do this? Great. And making sure that everybody has a specific task and specific job when you're creating these opportunities for each other. And don't forget about me, right? Just don't forget about me. I like to collaborate as well. But keep your collaborations going, keep things moving, and then duplicate. You can bring your coaches along, you can invite them in, you can share as much as you can and collaborate with them until they're ready to fly and do it themselves. And then do it again and do it again with their next group of coaches while you're doing it with your next group of coaches. And we can continue to work together and show up together and cheer each other on and keep training new people and bringing in a wider net of influence and lives changed as we do it. Okay. One thing I really want to remind you guys, as you know, you can't be everywhere or do everything. You really can't. So when you're looking at that audit, look at the calls that you're choosing to be on. Look at the trainings you're choosing to be on. And I'm including this one. Bob Heilig talked about this when he's including his own podcast. Like if you're overwhelmed with things to listen to, you need to cut out Bob Heilig's podcast. He's giving you full permission until you find real systems and find real actionable steps to take. If, there's a Monday, as many of you have done, and things are getting tight and you can't really show up to this because you've got something business to do it. Really do it. It's okay. We will survive. I will survive. I will record and post and you can watch when you can. Do I love when you're here live? Of course I do. But I need to remember, and you need to remember, our businesses are our priorities. And if your priority needs to be elsewhere, or if it's a family priority, that's your priority. It's okay. You can't be everywhere and do everything. We do our best, but we need to stick to what's simple and what's doable for each and every one of us. So please remember, learn to say no to the people and initiatives that do not align with your goals. Please. We have so many opportunities in our team, in our network, in our Team Beachbody community. And if we all said yes to every single thing, our businesses would never flourish because all we would be doing is spending time attending rather than leading and implementing and changing lives. It is okay to not be a part of the accountability call if it doesn't fit your schedule. It's also okay to say yes to it. It's okay to be a part of a team sneak peek. And it's also okay to do it on your own time when you can, or to not do them at all because recruitment isn't important to you right now. It's okay for you to set your priorities and to set your speed and to set your intentions as long as they align with your goals. All right. That is that for that. So here's your action item tonight, and I really, really, truly mean it. I want you to take a look at all of those lists and think about spaces in which you may be, I don't want to say wasting your time because I don't want to patronize any of you or me because my lists were ridiculous with some of the things that I could cut out. But take a look at who you want to be in this business in the next month, 2 months, that 90-day goal you were talking about at retreat, and see if anything you've put on your list just isn't cutting it right now. It's just not the thing right now, or you need to scale back a little and see those areas in which this is what I need. This is where I need to ramp it up. This is what I need to make space for, and do those things. So that's your action item tonight, is to really reevaluate your lists, really consider how your time is spent, really consider how you can make it most effective for you so that it's simple. The goal here is not to complicate. No one's adding anything to their list unless they've scaled back something else, unless they've moved some things around, tightened in their focus, okay? Adding is gonna just overwhelm, but replacing, redefining him, that's the goal, all right? Awesome. You guys are great. I started a couple minutes late, so it's okay that I'm after 9, but anyway, that's all for me. Any questions or any additional information you would like to add? Teresa looks like she needs to go sleepy. We all do. All right, I'm going to stop the recording.
I feel